Fake news fallout hitting ABC News after their chief political correspondent, Brian Ross, gives a faulty report on Michael Flynn.
The network now suspending Ross for 4 weeks, also issuing this apology. We deeply regret and apologize for the serious error we made yesterday. The reporting conveyed by Brian Ross during the special report had not been fully vetted through our editorial standards process.
But are there consequences? Are these consequences enough to counter fake news in the mainstream media? Here now to weigh in is the managing editor at Olympic Media, Katie Frates. Thanks for joining us this morning, Katie.
Thanks for having me.
So
Happy
let's
Monday.
start with this whole thing went down because he did cite a single anonymous source with this report. Right. Should we be able to do that? A single anonymous source?
No, actually, you really shouldn't. I mean, there's got to be editorial standards here. What I would love to know from this whole thing is how you allowed a report that is this serious, something that affects stock markets, that has people running because they think that he's going to be impeached, how it got through the editorial process and it wasn't fully vetted. Do they just let their anchors go on willy-nilly and talk about whatever they want on the off chance that hopefully it's correct?
Well, and Katie, I just want to delineate for people exactly what was said here and why it was such a big deal. You've got this investigation for over a year now into collusion with Russia. Ross's report said that basically that there was a source that said that he told Flynn to go to the Russians while they were into candidates, while they were in the election process before Donald Trump, before the election. And it turns out it ended up being after the election. The big difference is that there's no evidence of collusion now. Basically, what he told the country in a special report on ABC News is that here's the evidence of collusion, and everybody goes crazy talking about impeachment all of a sudden. It's amazing.
You're absolutely right. And this is a monumental difference between a candidate reaching out to Russia and President-elect Donald Trump reaching out to Russia. One of them is perfectly normal. You're going to be reaching out to folks to get to know them if you're president-elect and you're going to become the president of the United States. And that distinction in this report, that error, you're absolutely correct, is enormous. And you've just got to wonder, it's not just Brian Ross. What editorial staff gave this the go-ahead? What person said that Brian Ross, and this isn't the first or the second or the third time something like this has happened with Brian Ross. At what point did the editorial staff just say, yeah, we trust him to go do this without any secondary or third vetting?
People make mistakes, right? But this is a very, very serious mistake.
It is a big one.
It is a big one, right? And we want to make that clear. President Trump himself sent out a tweet saying people who lost money when the stock market went down 350 points based on the false and dishonest reporting of Brian Ross of ABC should consider hiring a lawyer and suing ABC for the damages this bad reporting has caused many millions of dollars. Do you think ABC is doing enough?
Man, so I've said this a lot. I'm not a big fan of Trump's tweeting. I personally think in issues like this, litigation, lawsuits, he should probably be staying out of it. But it does not help the image of the press right now, of fake news, of them pushing out stories to attack Trump, only to attack Trump because they don't like him. So I think image-wise, this is a really huge blow to the press right now.
Well, the president does call sometimes stories that end up being true as fake news, but in this one, he really was validated for a lot of his opinions on the media. This was a really, really bad one. All right, Katie, thank you so much.